Remember how the IRS is being investigated for targeting conservative groups? Yeah, we haven't forgotten about that. Now a government watchdog is saying that they erased computer backup tapes. They didn't lose them. They erased them during the investigation. These could have been game changers. As many as 24,000 emails, more than 400 backup tapes were lost, and they will most likely, of course, never be recovered. Heather, this is... If they're not hiding something, they certainly appear to be hiding something.
Well, that's right. And anybody else, if it wasn't the government, destruction of evidence, you would face so many criminal charges. And yet here we see over and over again where there's just no repercussions for this type of thing. I really believe that this is a situation where a special prosecutor should be appointed. We know Eric Holder decided not to prosecute Lois Lerner for not testifying. They're still apparently looking into whether or not they're going to prosecute her for going after the Tea Party people. But now we see this destruction of evidence on top of everything else. I just think it's time to get somebody independent in there to look into the situation, and Democrats should want it because otherwise this is going to taint them going into the next election.
Sure, they'll pay, whoever gets, Republicans get in charge, and there will be payback sort of thing. Destruction of evidence is pretty serious. Does anybody in Washington, do they care anymore? Do they know that they are absolutely Teflon proof?
Well, clearly no one's been held to account so far, and that doesn't help when it comes to the idea that there's going to be a price to pay if you do something wrong. I would recommend, though, if the GOP is going to be going after people, that they do it in the next administration so that we can avoid the pardon issue. I think Barack Obama would end up, keep that in mind. And I think a lot of people are thinking, well, we'll be pardoned, or, you know, this is where I think the timing of whatever it is that Congress does and the Republicans do is important.
But you guys are missing the forest for the trees, okay? The big issue here is that the IRS is not working. It does not work. It's dysfunctional. Do you know that they didn't look at 5 out of 6 potential places for these lost emails?
Yeah.
They didn't look at the backup laptops. They didn't look at backup tapes to the server.
Well,
they didn't look at her back BlackBerry.
Are they incompetent? I don't think so.
I think
it's corruption.
Listen, so I think there's a lot of corruption there. The IG is maintaining that these lost emails, it was, you know, they just made a mistake. These IRS employees made a mistake.
You've followed this a lot. Why are these are good people? They live in Virginia and Maryland, D.C. They go to work. They're bureaucrats. That's their career.
That's the issue.
Nobody cares.
But I know, but don't they? Doesn't anybody say, hey,
no, there's a
this person's doing something wrong?
Let me just say this about that. So something as serious as Lois Lerner, this doesn't come from the guy commuting in from Fredericksburg. Okay, that's not what's happening here. It's their chief counsel who was appointed by the president. Only 2 people are appointed by the president: the head of the IRS, John Koskinen, and the chief counsel. He is the guy who was in charge of all those emails. He is the person who oversaw this. In all likelihood, he is the person who set up this entire program of making sure that conservative groups did not get tax-exempt status.
But we know there are systemic issues, and with the emails that we have seen, there is a multitude of people who were involved in either making sure something was said or wasn't said, or how do you say this, and who do you want to involve? So it becomes systemic in that way. And I think that the bureaucracy, in a large part, like any entity, protects itself. And that's the disconnection of such a large government, seeing now the American people as the enemy. And that's the problem. The moment they decided that, that's what happened.
Let me go back to your point about special prosecutor. That has to come from the DOJ, right?
Right. Well, the Department of Justice, so Eric Holder, when he was the Attorney General, had said that we're still looking into prosecuting the various members of the IRS. We haven't heard much from Loretta Lynch as to what she intends to do with this. I think now with this news, they are saying that it's an accident, but what proof do we have of that?
No, accident my foot.
And during the investigation, during the investigation itself, when they had been subpoenaed, when everyone did know what was happening, to say you were ignorant is a bit of a stretch.
They are stretching.
If they can, you know, maintain that they were ignorant, then they were incompetent. So what's
Great point.
No, I'm corrupt or I'm incompetent.